Research-Based Justification by Mark Snodgrass. This presentation is intended to meet the requirements for Education W540, as well as to explain to the scheduling committee why it is important to keep computer applications on a team. Throughout this presentation, I will explain why computer applications should be taught to 8th graders the year before entering high school. I will do this by incorporating examples of cross-curricular lesson plans, different cited research of best practices, and different resources that students should be acquainted with before high school to be an efficient 21st century learner. How can educators update their curriculum to apply principles of effective teaching and learning? Educators should update their curriculum to apply principles of effective 21st century learning slowly by replacing one out-of-date assessment at a time. During my time teaching 7th grade social studies, I learned that content-heavy classrooms are typically the classrooms that are the most non-flexible. So as Heidi Hayes Jacobs says, we needed to use the word replace, not integrate, and we needed something concrete to offer as a replacement. Therefore, replacing one multiple-choice test per 9 weeks with a more modern technology-driven assessment will give the teacher time to investigate the technology, time to learn how the students react to the technology, and time to develop a better understanding of how to grade the assessment. Time to reflect between technology assignments will help the teacher create more authentic assessments. Why should we re-examine our current assessments? We should re-examine our current assessments to make them more relevant and meaningful to the students. The popular press is increasingly reporting patterns of misuse and abuse related to technology in our schools, homes, and society in general. Assessment should encourage students to critically think about their technology practices and how core classes can be related to the real-world practices. We as educators need to look at the type of citizens we are creating, and we should re-examine our current assessments to make certain that we are assessing the students appropriately. How can new technologies enhance teaching and learning? The most important way that new technologies can enhance teaching and learning is through student engagement. Many students in my building are focused on grades. Their parents are focused on grades. As a corporation, we enhance the concept of grades by pushing parents to Skyward, having rules about how often teachers need to update Skyward, and having discussions about the grading scale and which scale to use. How can we use technology to get students to look past grades and into authentic learning? Heidi Hayes Jacobs states that if students were to become more authentically engaged in the art of learning, the classroom would have to be more participatory, as students had to get up out of their mental seats and produce something at least as important as a grade. A product that demonstrated not just content knowledge, but understanding that ultimately makes a contribution. Therefore, utilizing technology allows students to freely demonstrate their understanding of English, science, math, and social studies, helps to engage the students. Diane Curtis states that project-based learning that freely crosses disciplines provides an education superior to the traditional algebra at 9, Civil War at 10, grade expectations at 11 structure. In short, allowing the students to approach core curricular concepts in a group setting while creating an engaging product is putting into practice the superior project-based learning. This is something that can happen because of the time provided in a computer applications class. Authentic student engagement encourages students to pursue an understanding rather than forcing students to memorize a topic to get a grade. For example, while teaching Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, students would read this play, write to reflect, and may even act out a scene. However, when computer applications is added to the mix, students now rewrite a scene from A Midsummer Night's Dream, adding a modern twist, use flip cameras to record the scene, and then create a digital video of that scene on the computer. The level of engagement the students have during this unit of English class flourishes because students are excited about learning and sharing videos. Finally, this engagement helps the students relate core content to the real world. When we get questions like, why do we learn Shakespeare? It is very easy to open an Anchor project and show students how many of these themes of his writing are apparent in their favorite books and movies. Adding the technology piece allows the students to see different classroom concepts as career opportunities that are available rather than just another classroom assignment for points. Why should educators participate in a collaborative, reflective community to foster our own professional learning? When a person decides to become a teacher, they have decided to be a lifelong learner. The teaming concept allows teachers to continue to learn in a group environment. The teaming concept makes all teachers on the team better. The team can explain academic concepts that the students are learning. This helps to increase overlap, proving the concept is important. The team can share student information. Discovering students' strengths and weaknesses helps the teachers differentiate their instruction. Teachers share strategies that have worked in their classrooms as well as things that have not gone so well. The teaming concept is great for the building. Similarly, educators who participate in a collaborative, reflective community open those same doors on a more global scale. Sharing project ideas within schools or even district buildings is great practice, but when sharing ideas with a professional community, the idea pool is much deeper. A professional community can share ideas of more modern approaches to teaching current concepts. It can also share new technology techniques that a more conservative district would have never applied. Because student successes in a global society is dependent upon their abilities to collaborate with others, be open to differences, and think critically, teaching from a global society is dependent upon their abilities to collaborate with others, be open to differences, and think critically. Teaching from a global perspective is critical. Teachers who have joined an online professional community have an environment where they can collaborate with others in a global society. This is a skill that the teacher can model for the students. Students can utilize a mind mapping website to collaborate with their peers, to share their research and discuss differences. Similarly, Maguth, Yagamachi, and Elliott suggest that in order for students to become effective citizens in a global connected era, they need to know about different parts of the world and think about the ways they are all tied together to other cultures and geographically diverse populations. Teachers need to share their awareness of the global issues. In short, a professional community is similar to sharing ideas, strategies, and offering reflection time to help teachers be professional lifelong learners. How can educators motivate students with technology while learning something of value? Heidi Hayes Jacobs said, "I think all students should develop an app." By saying this statement, she is inferring that apps and the process to create an app are important to a student's future. I have created an app club at school because I too agree that apps and the process to construct the app are indeed important. However, what do students believe is something of value? This question adds a wrinkle to the philosophical question, how can educators motivate students with technology while learning something of value? I believe that technology will be the motivating factor because students typically enjoy the technology. However, making the students believe that what you are teaching is actually something of value rather than another assignment is a more difficult task. The teacher has to convey that message while explaining the rationale or purpose of the lesson. Demonstrating how real-world scientists, engineers, artists, and computer technicians utilize skills that are being presented also helps to motivate the students. Many students have perceived careers ahead, and relating to the knowledge provided to the knowledge needed to succeed in a certain job market is a real motivator. Students should be able to demonstrate their knowledge like real-world scientists, engineers, artists, computer technicians, or other skilled laborer. The PISA assessments require more advanced analysis and knowledge use than most U.S. tests, going beyond the question, did the students learn specific facts, to ask, what can students do with what they have learned? The PISA defines literacy in mathematics, science, and reading as students' ability to apply what they know to new problems. Giving the students a chance to demonstrate what they know by using technology as an engaging way will help create meaningful, authentic assessment. Heidi Hayes Jacobs says, as mechanized tools and other technologies developed, our communities no longer needed young children to work. Although technologies freed children to leave the farm and go to school, there was a loss of real work and contributions to the community by children. Students needed a chance to contribute. By giving them a chance to contribute, Students will be motivated to create something extraordinary. Similarly, in a study conducted in 1974 by Lee, Stritter, Flair, and Irvin, where became contributors of the instructional process, it was found that the faculty agree that the students, as authors of essential course material, had added a significant new dimension to the instructional process. Also, the producers, the students, attitudes toward the course seem to be more positive. When students are more engaged by being producers of content, they will be learning something of value and motivated to achieve high results. We must provide a foundation for our students for the future. And what is that future? The new mission of the school is to prepare students to work at jobs that do not yet exist, creating ideas and solutions for products and problems that have not yet been identified, using technologies that have not yet been invented. Over the past 8 weeks, I have had a chance to re-examine my curriculum one unit at a time. I have found many ways to enhance my lessons, my content, and how I utilize my online classroom environment. I plan on adding more detailed lessons to my curriculum next semester. The evaluation process for my lessons varies depending on the lesson. For example, when students create Shakespeare translation videos, I will assess their knowledge of technology and the knowledge of Shakespeare. Most importantly, though, I will make certain the students can apply the knowledge learned in my classroom and other core areas. I judge my overall success by the class enrollment choices my students make in high school and the grades they make in those courses. This concludes my research-based justification. Thank you for watching.